Marvelous hello, friends and loved ones! How are you today? So, like many YouTubers, I wanted to talk about Spyro today. Specifically, I wanted to talk about The Legend of Spyro: A New Beginning. I even made a thumbnail for it and everything. Unfortunately, I found out a little bit too late that when I try to play this game in my system, and it turns out my laptop is not powerful enough to run both the emulator and the capture software at the same time. Of course, none of that really matters because the Reignited trilogy has been delayed until November, causing many YouTubers to have to adjust their schedules a little bit.
My name is Alora.
Hi, I'm Spyro. What are you, some kind of goat?
I'm a fawn, you dork.
Oh, sorry.
You know what, Spyro devs, you take all the time you need. But right now, for me, it just feels like there's this big hole in the middle of my update schedule. So we're gonna be talking about Donut County. I found out they have Dunkin' Donuts in China. So to answer some of the questions you may have right now, what is Donut County? Well, it's a casual puzzle game that was inspired by a tweet from a Peter Molyneux parody account. The tweet simply said, "You play as a whole, you must move around an environment, making certain elements fall into correct targets at the right time." And so, indie game developer Ben Esposito dove right into the idea, creating a small game jam title called The Pits back in 2012. Over the next 6 years, Esposito and some other talented individuals worked really hard to bring Donut County to life, and the game is so charming it's bursting out of everywhere. It's like when you bite into a jelly-filled donut and it squirts out the back. Except instead of getting your hand all sticky, this game just makes you smile. Because it's so filled with charm. Donut County opens up with a young girl named Mira who works at the town donut shop with her friend BK, a smart-mouthed raccoon. BK is saving up the points he gets at work to buy a sweet quadcopter, while Mira is mad that some guy outside keeps honking his horn. So BK does what any good friend does, and sends him a donut. And then... wow. Yeah, we cut straight to the literal underworld where society has crumbled and everyone is living in the destroyed ruins that was once their peaceful little town. I think Donut County managed to destroy the world as we know it even faster than Nocturne. But perhaps worst of all, Mira destroyed BK's sweet new quadcopter. He worked hard for that! So in all of the trailers for Donut County, there was usually just some gameplay footage or some cute sketches involving the raccoons. One I really like is the PS4 announcement trailer for the game, where the raccoons were voiced by ProZD himself.
This game has Updog, right?
What's up, dog? What's up, dog?
The point is, when I got into Donut County and found there was a genuine story mode, it came as a pleasant surprise. Much like Persona 5, the story is told mostly through flashbacks. Everyone in town is mad at BK for delivering the holes that brought them down here, with each of the game's colorful characters explaining what they were doing at the time when they ordered a donut, essentially setting up the level before the gameplay kicks in. And while the story is charming, with each character having their own little quirks and adorable Animal Crossing-esque talking noises, the gameplay is where Donut County shines brightest. Using the analog stick,
You control the hole.
and that's pretty much it. Most of the levels are relatively short, but all of them also have a puzzle or two to solve in order to get big enough to swallow everything. In the very first level, you have to swallow this clay stove and use the heat coming out of the hole to inflate a hot air balloon. And in another level, you've got a snake tail poking out that you can use to activate switches and provoke terrified park rangers, with later levels adding the catapult upgrade allowing for certain items to be launched into the air in order to help solve the puzzles. After you complete a level, you can read through the Trashopedia, a sort of bestiary of every item you've swallowed up. These descriptions range from mildly amusing to ridiculously funny, and I think it's well worth taking the time to read through them. Speaking of the game's dialogue, it stands out quite a bit. The first dialogue in the game comes in the form of texting, and honestly, that's sort of how the entire game feels to me. Like we're reading one big group chat log. Characters will randomly bust out LOLs and OMGs, and while I generally don't like when games go down this path, I found it really matched the tone of the game in a way that I didn't mind at all. If I had any complaints for Donut County, it's that I want more, which generally isn't a bad complaint to have. Some of the levels are really short, and when the premise of your game is about a hole that gets bigger the more things fall into it, I was kinda hoping to see a few more examples of it on a grander scale. Though one level in particular towards the end does do a fantastic job of this. Donut County is a pretty short game, but that's okay. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it offers a great time in those couple of hours. Several levels even have a trophy that can be unlocked if you think outside the box a little bit, so it's a good idea to revisit levels and see what else you can come up with. My personal favorite is in a later level when you're destroying a bug-infested restaurant, and using a clue the game itself does give you, you can create the secret soup recipe that is so good, it will bring this taste-testing bird to tears. You just gotta keep the bugs out of it while you cook. A good while into the game, we see that BK has finally been able to earn his quadcopter. We see why Mira had to destroy it, and we get to play out the events that led to them being down in the depths of the earth with the rest of their town, bringing us back up to speed. So whenever I cover relatively new games on this channel, I try not to spoil too much of the story. And while Donut County isn't a game with a lot of story to spoil, you should still consider this your warning and maybe skip ahead to this time if you don't want the ending of the game ruined for you. Take your time. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy this donut. Once everyone in town has been able to convince BK that what he did was wrong, they conduct a plan to get everything and everyone back above ground. Remember that hot air balloon we unleashed in the first level? Well, we can use that to get Mira and BK back to the surface, where they will talk to the boss of all raccoons, the Trash King, and ask him if he can help us get rid of some of the holes and get everybody their things back. He's not keen on this idea. So we solve this problem the only way we know how, with holes. Once we've got a hole on the inside of the Trash King's headquarters, the game gets a bit more fast-paced, and we have to solve a grand series of puzzles using nearly every mechanic we've mastered up to this point. And there are a lot of great secrets and Easter eggs to find here. For example, see this vault? We can totally get in there and suck up everything of value, because... what can I say? I love it when raccoons break into vaults to steal stuff. Sadly, no buxom fox babes show up to try and stop us in this one. Oh yeah, forgot to include Sly Cooper on that list of games from the Bloody Roar 2 video, huh? After wreaking enough havoc on the office, the Trash King asks to speak to BK directly, and this game unleashes something I truly was not expecting. An honest-to-goodness boss battle. I didn't think it could be done with the simplistic mechanics here, but nah. It's a boss battle, and it works really well. While I won't spoil what happens, I will say this. Once you're done with the game, go on back and let yourself lose this fight. Trust me, it's worth it. And once it's all over and done with, we can just watch the rest of the story play out. It's a good wrap-up to everything we've gone through so far, and a decent literal send-off to all the characters we've briefly gotten to fall in love with. And in the credits, we can take to the sky as we have full control of BK's new quadcopter. It's a nice little sandbox, and there are a lot of Easter eggs to find, and even a few trophies to unlock for the truly diligent. It's a good way to handle the end of the game. So that's basically Donut County. The game is pretty short, and the puzzles aren't really head-scratchers, but it all works out because this game is just fun. Like many other games I love to this day, Donut County is the type of game I can go back to again and again. I imagine I'll be picking up this game, starting a new file, and just enjoying several afternoons playing through it. This game has been in development for 6 years, and from the very first puzzle to the very last item you drop into the abyss, it's easy to see the love, care, and passion that went into this project. This is a game that anyone can enjoy, from its charming visuals to its lighthearted story, to the way the physics work on the items you try to drop down into the hole, not to mention the fantastic soundtrack that I've neglected to mention up to this point. Everything about Donut County just works. Overall, Donut County is just a game with a whole lot of heart.
Boo!